I'm Matt, and today we're going to take care of a problem that a lot of Jeepers may not even know about. We have 35-inch tires on the back of this 2010 JKU, and it's on a stock tire mount system. And if you don't know this, it can wreak a lot of havoc on not only the mount, but your tailgate. Last thing you ever would want is for your tire to fall off going down the road, because that's expensive tires. But today we're going to install a brand new bumper on the back of this Jeep that has a tire carrier built into it, and instead of having to open the tire carrier to get your trunk open, this one runs together, so you just open your trunk and the tire carrier swings out with it. So let's get to work on getting this new bumper installed. Well, we are also in my backyard because that's where I do a lot of my work. So pardon any mess that happens to happen or any ambient noise. Let's open her up.
Here comes the reveal.
Da, da, da. All right, heavy box here. It's probably all the hardware. It's conveniently says parts box. This one's a little bit smaller. This is the actual bumper itself. Well, that sticker's kind of coming off a little bit. These are welded in the front, and they're welded on another plate back here. So they're welded to a plate. They come through the bumper, they're welded in the back. That's attached to the frame. These probably could be thickened up a little bit. Trailer package. In the second box, that's going to be the tire carrier. Let's get to opening this. That's going to mount right on the back of the spindle, right there. Right, ta-da! These are going to go inside your frame. Plate for the back of the trailer hitch. The top for the mounting post and bearing. A stopper. Another bumper. Probably meets together with this. A set of D-rings. Some bearings. A bag of hardware. Even comes with lug nuts. These ride on your tailgate and go to the tire carrier, and that's what allows you to open your tailgate and your tire carrier at the same time. It's adjustable, so you can adjust where you want it, and then you have 3 mounting bolts, which is where your spare tire is going to attach to. Welcome to part 2. The first part was taking it out of the box. The second part is going to be getting the stock bumper and tire carrier off of the 2010 Wrangler. And then we'll follow that up with the installation of the new bumper. If you've never bought anything from Hooke Road, they carry all kinds of different parts and upgrades for your Jeep. We have an affiliate account with them, and there's a promotional code called Off-Road Travels that'll get you a discount off anything that you purchase. There's a link below. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the spare tire off. Step 1, done. Get the tire carrier off, 1/2-inch socket. Tire carrier's off. Get the bumper off. Step 1, remove the 2 16mm bolts from each side of the frame bracket. Some places it's going to be better to have a ratchet. Rear bumper's out. Now, let me tell you something. When you take this rear bumper off, you come to the realization that it is absolutely worthless. It is plastic and hollow. It has no integrity against trees or cars. That's why there's a cross member. Next, we have to get the tow hitch off. You see that these are all attached right here. So you do it from the bolts from behind. They should be 18 millimeter.
What's that tool called?
This is an 18 millimeter wrench. It's open-ended and a ratchet. I use these at work all the time. For those who don't know, I am a mechanic by trade. I work on a golf course and I fix everything from big stuff to small stuff. We have mowers today that we were using to mow the greens. They, just to give you an idea, they're about $20,000 a piece. And 2 of them broke today. And my job as a mechanic this morning was to diagnose the problem and fix it. They're both back in the lineup and ready to mow the next time that they use them. That's one way. So the bumper's off and we're ready to put the new one on. I'm gonna take a wire brush and clean this up just a little bit before we do that. Be a little softer. Now something of importance also is you're gonna have to get the tow hook off. This tow hook is heavy duty and mounted right to the frame. I really regret that I have to take this off to put the bumper on because I totally trust that this is going to stay where it's supposed to. When you use a kinetic rope to pull people, it's extremely important that your tow points are secure and strong because you're going to exert a tremendous amount of force. And if it should take one of those tow points or a D-ring off, that D-ring could become a projectile that is going to fly backwards into the windshield of the person behind you. And if it continues to fly, it could be absolutely lethal. So tow points are crucial in the fabrication of any bumper. Guess what I found on the inside top lid of the box? The instructions for the bumper install. And I got a sticker. Woohoo! So now that that's all cleaned up, we are ready to break out the instructions. This is technically going to be part 3 of this video. This is the install of the new bumper. They do give you instructions. They are pretty clear. It does say step 1, step 2, step 3. Shows you exactly what you're supposed to do. It's in color. Yes, that is outstanding. Plus, there's a QR code right down there that you can put it in digitally. These are the tools that they say that you will need. A 19 millimeter and 13 millimeter socket wrench. You will need a 4 millimeter and 5 millimeter hex socket wrench. You will need a 10 millimeter and 14 millimeter and 19 millimeter wrench. I'll show you a picture of all those. Something that's really helpful is for you to lay out your nuts and bolts. That way you know how many there is of each specific size. It helps it a little bit better. If you need 4 5.5 inch bolts, then you know that you have 4. The lug nuts, there's stacks of washers. There's locking washers, there's nuts that go on the bolts, there's washers from smaller equipment. I'm sure that that goes with the brackets that hold everything on. But from this point, we've got everything laid out and we're ready to follow some instructions. Let's see, it's probably going to slide in just like this and hopefully line up.
Goes over it.
Yep, because I'm gonna have to guide those. So it's pretty easy, but gotta guide these bolts on. Bring it on in. Oh, did that get your finger?
That's okay.
No, it's not okay. So it shows 10 bolts. However, out of those 10 bolts, 6 are shorter than 4. I would say that the longer bolts are going to go in the side plates because they have to go a little further. Alright, take your slightly longer bolts, and those are going to attach into the frame. Always thread them by hand first. Still a spot. Am I even lined up?
You know what those were? That was a trailer piece.
The bumper's where it's supposed to be on top. If you notice the top, I mean, it's pretty much close to the top. You want to make sure that your tailgate isn't going to have any issues opening, say like that, because you don't want your tailgate. So hopefully there won't be an issue once I get everything tightened up, but you want to check that. Next, before we tighten these up, let's get the 4 bolts on the trailer hitch mount.
Is mine into that or not? 16%.
Shine right in there, because now you can actually see what I'm doing. And now with all the hardware attached, we can snug things up. Don't snug up one side before the other side is in, and it's always good to put as many in as possible, because otherwise you might have to loosen them all back up. So again, this is what we did. We used the 4 long bolts that they provided, put a plate on the back of the cross member, put the bumper on, the long bolts go through. They have a big washer, a lock washer, and then the nuts that are on there. The side plates right there, those are going into the little frame piece that we inserted into there. From there, I'm gonna go ahead and snug this stuff up. So I'm gonna start with the 4 center bolts to snug those up. You're gonna need 2 because it's a nut and bolt. The welded ones that you used to have are not there anymore.
Okay. These are what they call Part S.
Look, if you put your D-rings on with a wrench, make sure that you have it in your tailgate to be able to take them off, or a big screwdriver. Otherwise, you're never going to get them off by hand. I don't take off my D-rings because I run my soft shackle through this. I run my soft shackle through here, down here, and this is a pretty.
See? Okay.
Put the plate together, and then this is your bumper stop. It's going to go through the first hole right there, I guess. So we're going to put the counterpart to the bump stop, and that's going to help keep your bumper aligned. So you'll need these plates, this bump stop, and the nuts and bolts that go with it. The plate goes on right here in the front. Basically it's going to go on just like this. There are some washers and some lock nuts. Two sides to this plate. One of these bolts was shorter than the other, therefore I was not able to put the lock washer on. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to get the nut on this side. See how you can see how short that is. So we need to not tighten these up yet, because what you have to do with this is adjust the plunger, which is where'd that nut go? A couple holes there. If you can't get it to go down where it needs to go, you're gonna have to find a couple holes. Where's that washer? No, it does not. So this is the top, this is the bottom. The big bearing is going to go on the bottom, the small bearing is going to go on the top. So you can see there's a different size to that. So take your bearing, take it out of the sleeve, set the bearing itself. Notice it has no grease, you want to grease that up. This is going to seat down in the bottom, and it's going to seat just like this with the race to where you can set the bearing down on top. Then on the smaller one, you're going to put the race in as well. So this is the smaller one. Take your race, it's going to go in the front at the top right there, just like that. And that is going to be your race. Now I like to put a little bit of oil on there. Screws them off. If you do not have a bearing greaser, which is a great convenient tool, you can just push the grease into the bearing. One and 5/16. I think this might be the same as the Pitman arm wrench. Probably wouldn't over tighten it. Looks like this. Line it up with the little bolt. This is that special little black bolt that you had. Once it's on there. So you got to make sure that this is loose, otherwise you're going to have a really hard time. You'll notice that there's a round hole through here. That has to almost rest at the very lowest spot through here in order to make it work. So in order to get it to line up, that bolt right there is now in the way of the washer. So since I can't get them to line up without resting on top of it, I'm going to have to resort to a little bit of a fabrication. Now my washer will rest flat. If I lose that bolt at some point, I have to replace it because it doesn't feel like it's hardly coming through and it doesn't have a lock washer.
What size is that?
19. Okay. I'll make sure I have a little more room on this side than this side. The reason is on this side you have the possibility of hitting the frame on the carrier. On this side it pretty much is going to stay right in there.
Too sure how that's done right there.
Just be prepared to do a lot of fooling around with these parts right here and here. Make sure that you use the QR code to be able to get bigger pictures, because they're going to help. These adjusters, you want to adjust them to where the tailgate shuts properly, and you want to make sure that this bolt in the adjuster is not striking the top of this. If you feel you need to, you probably could put a couple washers to get that down a little bit further away from the lip. It seems awfully close. So once you assemble this, it is adjustable in and out depending on the size of your tire. I have measured from about the bottom of my bumper up to about the center of there to accommodate the 35-inch tires. It is fully adjustable. I think we're going to go down to the lowest level. As you can see, there's a pretty big gap between the bottom of the tire and the bumper itself. So before I snug everything up, we're going to take the tire back off and we're going to bring it down a level. The bumper is installed. Not too difficult, with the exception of getting the adjusters on the swing gate in the right position. As I said, it's very crucial that you can open and close your tailgate properly without any binding of those adjusters. If it is pulling or pushing, you may find that it's going to mess your tailgate up. So make sure that those are adjusted properly. I can now open my tailgate and the tire pivots with the tire carrier, and that works a lot better. A couple things I still have to do. I have to hook up the electric lights in the back. I'm probably going to run those with a switch instead of reverse lights, because that way if I pass a snake and I got to have the back lights on, I can turn them on. In addition to that, I got to clean up my back tire. I think I'm going to trade out the spare with the one that's in the back driver's side. Once we get the lights wired up, we're thinking about the brake light thing, and I got to put the camera back on. But that's going to be later today.